Well, hello there, YouTube. I am RL coming to you again from my channel. I have a new topic for you today. I'm going to be ranking all the Lethal Weapon movies from worst to best. So let's get started. So the Lethal Weapon franchise is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I say that to every franchise, but I mean, I like a lot of franchises. So there are 4 Lethal Weapon movies in the Lethal Weapon franchise. Not all of them are really good. Actually, only 2 are, but I'm going to rank all of them for you today. So number 4 on my list would be Lethal Weapon 3. So this movie is so far removed from quality of the first 2 Lethal Weapon movies. I really didn't like this movie at all when I was a kid. This one just felt like a watered down version of number 1 and 2. Didn't feel as intense or dramatic. It had too many comedic moments. The villain wasn't very good at all. The villain does 2 cruel things. He shoots a guy in the police office, and he also buries some guy in cement. I didn't really feel this guy did anything very threatening to the police that were going after him. Nothing like the other movies where they were a big threat. You didn't want to mess with these bad guys. This guy looked like a pushover, to be honest, especially in the end of the movie. Also, Riggs, he wasn't a lethal weapon in this movie. His girlfriend, she was the real lethal weapon in this one. He didn't really have an edge to him at all. He kind of had it for a couple of seconds in the end of the movie when he thinks his girlfriend is going to die, but she just got shot and he had a bulletproof vest. Really, there was no edge to him. Humor was over the top. Leo Getz was useless. He wasn't really needed in this at all. They kept him in the franchise because he was so good in Lethal Weapon 2, but he was really not needed. In Lethal Weapon 2, at least, there was a reason for him to be there. He was important to the plot, but Lethal Weapon 3, he just was there as comedic relief, and it really didn't work. He was just obnoxious, and his hair color was blonde for some reason. I don't know why they used this character. The opening sequence, Riggs tries to play Bomb Squad, cuts the wrong wires, and of course blows up the building, but saves a cat. It was just so stupid. The whole movie, the tone was off. What really bothered me watching this movie is Murtaugh kills this kid who's shooting at him with an Uzi. He shoots him and kills him and feels really bad about it, and the mother of the kid who he killed slaps him at the funeral. But this kid chose a life of crime and drugs and killing and shooting at cops, and you feel sorry for defending yourself and shooting back. I just did not buy it. Of course you're gonna have remorse, but I mean, you're doing your job, you're defending yourself, you're shooting for self-defense, and you go into this deep funk. The mother had no idea what her kid was doing. I mean, she should be slapping herself, not Murtaugh, because this kid, if he killed this cop, she wouldn't have given a damn. She would not have slapped her kid for killing Murtaugh because she was totally not even remotely aware of what this kid was doing. Lethal Weapon 3 is the worst on the list for me. So moving on, so number 3 on my list would be Lethal Weapon 4. Now, Lethal Weapon 4 isn't a very good movie. It isn't a good movie at all. It's a step up from Lethal Weapon 3 because Lethal Weapon 4 has a good villain at least. It's got Jet Li, his first time in North America cinema, so it's really exciting to see him. Recently started to watch some of his movies, and he's a great martial arts expert. Way better than Lethal Weapon 3 villain. So this is why I put it up above Lethal Weapon 3, because at least it had a great villain. The action was over the top, and there was a lot of silly moments. I felt the humor went a little bit too much with the cell phone stuff with Chris Rock and Leo Getz, who again was totally pointless in this movie. They really shouldn't have used him in the rest of the series because he was totally not needed. He was just sticking around to be there because they wanted comedic relief. Lethal Weapon 4 was just way too much humor. It was really, the tone was off. They just went overboard. The plot wasn't that good. They were counterfeiting money, but I love the part where they burned down the house. So they were very much a threat in this movie. When the police were going after them, they fought back. They were vicious people. Lethal Weapon 4 is number 3 on my list. So moving on, next on my list would be number 2, Lethal Weapon 1. So Lethal Weapon 1 came out in 1987. It was a really groundbreaking movie. It was really one of the first buddy cop movies that did really amazing. I mean, of course there were other buddy cop movies, but this one really did something different and really had a real powerful impact when it came out in theaters. It was just so edgy, and it took chances, and it wasn't just comedy. It was a serious drama and had some really amazing actors and great moments. The whole story of Riggs being suicidal, losing his wife in a car accident, and being depressed and wanting to commit suicide was really well done. It was very powerful. Everyone didn't want to work with him. He was transferred to another police station. The psychiatrist at the police station was was warning them not to bring him in because he was going to pop himself and who knows, endanger the lives of other cops. She was obviously wrong. The way it all worked out was just so well formulated. I loved Riggs and Murtaugh eventually bond and learn to trust each other. Obviously, in the beginning of the movie, Riggs was total loose cannon, and Murtaugh was not wanting to work with him because it was like, I'm retiring soon. I'm just turned 50. I'm too old for this shit. Eventually, he warms to him and sees what a great cop he is, and he's really not crazy. He's only normal to feel depressed when you lose your wife. That movie just had so much going for it. I remember watching it on ABC, so I never really appreciated it until recent years where I saw it again on DVD and got to see the full cut, unedited swear words and other violent scenes that they had to cut out. It was a lot better than I expected. It isn't as good as the second one, but it's still a very good movie. What really makes it great is that buddy cop arc with them slowly becoming a team. Murtaugh respecting Riggs as a human being and trusting him, and by the end of the movie he has him over for dinner with his family. It's a really nice closing to the movie. I love this movie, I really do. It's so well done, and it's number 2 on my list. So moving on, so number 1 on my list is Lethal Weapon 2. Now Lethal Weapon 2 is by far my favorite of the Lethal Weapon franchise. I love this movie. Growing up, it was one of my favorite action movies of all time. It still is. I consider it the perfect blend of comedy, action. It's serious. It's got a dark tone with the villains that are like from South Africa. They're racist towards the black people there. It's just right at the end of apartheid. There's a lot of protests going on, and these guys, these villains, they are bad, terrible people, and never been a bigger threat in the franchise than these guys. This is what makes this movie so good. There's so many great moments, so many great scenes. I really love the scene where the main villain says, "Diplomatic immunity," and Murtaugh shoots him. It's just been revoked. It is a classic scene. There's so many great moments. I love how the character of Riggs, so emotional, so excitable. Like, the guy's just crazy, you know, and he's got that edge to him still. Obviously, he still has that death wish, but he's not depressed like he was in the first movie. His character has evolved. He is at his Lethal Weapon best. And that's what I love about Lethal Weapon 2. I love the scene where they meet Leo Getz for the first time, and the bad guy tries to pop Leo, and they all go through the window, but Murtaugh doesn't go through. And Murtaugh finally gets to the pool. He's like, "Why didn't you follow me down? You're my partner, aren't you?" I love that moment. It's such a great moment. Yeah, another great scene is when they're all in the car and they go to Subway, and Leo gets a sandwich. It's not what he wants. Never go to the drive-thru. They'll fuck you when you get to the drive-thru. They fuck you. They know you're gonna be miles away before you know you've been fucked. What a moment that was. Like, shut up! And then like, oh my god, it was hilarious. I mean, he was just perfect in this movie. This movie hits all the marks for me. Just a perfect movie. Nothing wrong with this movie in my opinion. I love it. I could watch it again and again. It is definitely number 1 on my list. So there you have it, YouTube. That's my ranking of all the Lethal Weapon movies from worst to best. So I hope you like this ranking. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and I will have more videos for you in the weeks, months, and years to come. Bye for now.